Who are Georgia's highest ranked signees over the last 25 years? That's what I'm going to talk about in today's video. We're going to keep it positive, right? I know Jackson Cantwell chose Miami over Georgia. He was the number one player in the country, but we're going to go a different route today. Recruiting still matters, and we're going to keep it positive. Like I said, we're going to talk about Georgia's highest ranked signees over the past 25 years, and we're going to start with guys that Georgia signed who were the number one player in the country. I promise it's happened before. The sky isn't falling. It will happen again. But we're going to start talking about Nolan Smith. He was the number one prospect in the country for that 2019 class. 100% lived up to the hype. He, was Georgia the entire way from the very beginning. Didn't really look at any other schools. Helped lead Georgia to 2 national championships. First round pick. He's an all-time Bulldog. 100% lived up to the hype. Unfortunately, Trenton Thompson did not. He was the number one player in America in the 2015 class. It was a really big deal. Georgia really needed to get this guy. Mark Richt made him a top priority. They landed him at a Westover High School in Albany. I also thought this guy was going to be the next great defensive lineman, elite, first-round pick, all of it, right? He had his moments, but, he had the shoulder injury that held him back, and just he wasn't that guy. He wasn't that guy, did not live up to the hype of the number one player in the country. Had his moments, but still, I thought everyone expected more out of him. So those are 2 guys who were number 1 in the country. They also signed guys who were ranked number 2 in the country. One of them is currently on the roster. Ellis Robinson, an elite cornerback, was the number 2 prospect in the country in the 2024 class, 1 spot behind Jeremiah Smith, who is without a doubt one of the best players in college football. Will Ellis Robinson turn into that this year? He's got to see the field at some point, right? You would think. He's long, he's athletic, and I think he's going to push for one of those starting cornerback jobs. So we'll see how it goes. But number 2 prospect in the country, high expectations for him. Another guy who was number 2, Georgia fans, some of y'all might want to close your ears on this. It was Justin Fields. Obviously, we know what happened there. We don't have to dig into it, but he was the number 2 prospect in the country that did sign with Georgia. Okay. Number 3 overall prospect, a couple more of those guys as well. Elijah Griffin, a guy Georgia just signed, elite. He is turning heads. A lot of people believe that he will live up to the hype. He was the number 3 overall prospect in last year's 2025 cycle, a guy that Georgia recruited basically since middle school. In 8th and 9th grade, they were able to land him. Miami wanted him badly. Just throwing it out there. They wanted him badly. Did not get him. Georgia ended up landing him out of Pooler, not Savannah. He'll tell you he's from Pooler, but high expectations. I think he will see the field this year in some capacity and be a multi-year starter down the road. But this guy has all the tools to be an elite, game-changing defensive lineman. We'll see if that happens sooner than later. Another guy who was number 3 overall, Matthew Stafford, NFL Hall of Famer. He was great at Georgia, was thrown into the fire as a freshman in 2006. Had some bumps, had some bruises, but got better and better and better. He was the number 3 overall prospect in the country 20 years ago, or 19 years ago, in that 2006 class that had a lot of guys. You could argue that he was the best of the best. Number 4 overall prospect in the country, that was Keely Ringo. Keely Ringo, number 4 overall prospect in the country in the 2020 class. He obviously had a very good Georgia career, had arguably the biggest play in program history with the pick 6 to seal Georgia's national championship win over Alabama. Was very good again in 2022. He's a 2-time national champion. Was a 5-star elite prospect, obviously number 4 overall from Arizona. I flew out to watch him and Darnell Washington play. That's what insiders do. We figure out what's going to happen. Sometimes you miss, like with the Jackson Cantwell stuff, but other times you've got a good feeling. You go to Las Vegas and you watch Keely Ringo and Darnell Washington play. But Keely Ringo was a big deal. Georgia recruited. They ended up signing. He was the number 4 overall prospect. Number 6 overall was A.J. Green, truly elite wide receiver. I think he's a borderline NFL Hall of Famer. If he wasn't stuck in Cincinnati with Andy Dalton throwing to him, if he was drafted somewhere else, I think he could be in the NFL Hall of Fame. Just an unreal player for the University of Georgia. Probably the most talented receiver the program has ever seen. He was a dog from the very beginning. And like Nolan Smith, that was a guy that committed to Georgia early and never wavered. He did not like the recruiting game, didn't really look at other schools. No drama there with AJ Green at all. He is definitely a fan favorite. He was the number 6 overall prospect in a loaded 2008 class. Another guy who was number 6 overall was Justin Williams, currently on the roster entering his sophomore year. He was the number 6 overall prospect in the 2024 class. Big deal. Kirby Smart loves this guy, called him an alpha. I'm not sure that he's going to be starting over guys like Raylan Wilson and CJ Allen, but he is going to see the field. Chris Cole right there with him was a 5-star in that class, but Justin Williams, high expectations, really talented kid. I think he's going to make an impact this year, was number 6 overall in 2024. Another guy, number 6 overall, was Michael Williams 2 years prior in the 2022 class. Really big deal, committed to Southern Cal early. We told y'all he was not going to sign with Southern Cal. He was going to sign with Georgia, and that ended up happening. He was an elite edge defender out of Hardaway High School in the Columbus area and was absolutely lived up to the hype. Obviously, a top 10 pick, right, in the NFL draft. I believe his top 10 pick to the Niners, right? Yeah, I think he was. I'm kind of forgetting the exact number, but first round pick, and I believe it was top 10. Maybe 8, 9, it doesn't matter. He was elite and a national champion at Georgia, so he left his mark in Athens. Number 6 overall, definitely lived up to the hype. Jacob Eason was number 8 overall in 2016. Certainly had his moments, didn't work out. He gets hurt to start the 2017 season. Jake Fromm takes over, and that was it for Jacob Eason. He had to transfer, but the arm talent was there. Didn't know how to play quarterback, but he did have that game-winning throw against Missouri. Should have had the game-winning throw against Tennessee. That was one of the best throws I've ever seen in person, and one of the best throws I've ever seen in Sanford Stadium. That throw should have won them the game over Tennessee in 2016. We don't have to talk about what happened next, but you saw the talent. You saw the big arm. He was number 8 overall in 2016. Broderick Jones, another elite tackle that Georgia signed and was a first-round pick. He was the number 9 overall prospect in the 2020 class. I saw him play at Lithonia. The guy who just obviously looked the part physically. Kind of a quiet recruitment, committed to Georgia, didn't really tell anyone. I remember that. That was crazy. It didn't, really hit the media and make news until I think a few weeks, maybe a couple months after he already told the staff, hey, I want to be a Georgia Bulldog. No one really knew. He didn't announce it. He didn't play the recruiting game either. Auburn came on strong, but at the end of the day, he turned out to be a very, very good player and a national champion at Georgia. So number 9 overall, he lived up to the hype. He lived up to the rankings, no doubt about it. Another guy, number 9 overall, Tyson Campbell. He lived up to it, no doubt about it. He was a 5-star prospect out of South Florida that Georgia got, multi-year starter. Probably should have been a first-round pick. He was an early second-round pick to the Jaguars, and at one point signed the biggest contract, I believe, in NFL history for a cornerback. So, yeah, dude got paid, lived up to the hype. He was really good at Georgia, and he's had a really nice career in the NFL. He was number 9 overall, lived up to that ranking. Isaiah Crowell, also number 9 overall in 2011. He was one of the last must-get targets or must-get prospects for the Georgia Bulldogs. I don't believe in those anymore. I don't think one guy is a must-get for the Georgia program. Not even Jackson Cantwell, okay? The program's not falling off a cliff because they did not land Jackson Cantwell. They needed Isaiah Crowell. They had to get him. Mark Richt had to have him. His job was basically on the line. If they didn't start winning ball games in 2011 and beyond, they needed Isaiah Crowell in that 2011 class. He was as important as any recruit that I've ever seen, and I truly believe that. Number 9 overall, was really good. He was only there for 1 year, got in trouble. Those charges were dropped, but they only needed him the 1 year. The next year, they had Todd Gurley and Keith Marshall running wild, right? So they only needed him for that 2011 season. He led the team in rushing as a freshman and went on to have a better NFL career than, or at least he put up better numbers than Sony Michel and DeAndre Swift so far. I mean, he had a nice little NFL career, no doubt about it. Didn't win a Super Bowl like Sony did, but as far as numbers go, he put up better numbers in the NFL than people think or remember. So number 9 overall, talent-wise, definitely lived up to it. Career at Georgia, maybe not so much. Brandon Miller was the number 9 overall prospect in 2004. Did not live up to the hype. He was a big, big deal. Just didn't live up to it. I occasionally would make a play or two, but number 9 overall, that didn't live up to it. So did not go well. Isaiah Gibson, number 10 overall in last year's class. He is an incoming freshman with Elijah Griffin. Elijah Griffin was number 3 overall in the country. Isaiah Gibson, number 10 in that 25 class. Could be an elite pass rusher down the line. We'll see if he's able to play a decent bit this year. He's going to have to earn it. He's going to have to fight it. But physically, he looks the part. He's got the length. I think he is at some point going to be an outstanding big-time player for the Georgia Bulldogs. I think he'll see the field some this year, but year 2, year 3, I have high expectations for Isaiah Gibson, who was the number 10 overall prospect. And then Amarius Mims was number 10 overall in the 2021 class. Of course, another guy Georgia found, signed, developed, and got him into the first round of the NFL draft, right? That happens all the time, especially at offensive tackle. And we saw it with Amarius Mims. So number 10 overall in that class, lived up to the hype. Didn't start a ton of games, but he's a national champion and was very, very good when he was in there at right tackle. And I believe could be starting for the Bengals this year, protecting Joe Burrow. So Amarius Mims, number 10 overall, lived up to the hype there. Still probably the biggest 15-year-old I have ever seen in person. Very, very good player. So again, those are just a list of recent top 10 players in the country that Georgia has signed. They will continue to sign more of them. Jared Curtis will be added to this list when it's all said and done, I believe. So, and again, the Georgia recruiting is still at an elite level. Don't let what happened yesterday, trigger you. Don't let it ruin your day. It is what it is. The Georgia recruiting train is still going to keep moving along, right? So thanks for watching. I hope you learned some kind of a fun, positive video after what happened yesterday, but yeah, or 2 days ago, depending on when this came out. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you over on dawgpost.com.